3,000 souls.
So he went from denying Jesus to being the person to preach at Pentecost, the day of Pentecost, and 3,000 people were saved. We are on number 5 now.
David.
This is going to be, let's see, number 5 is Moses. And this is Exodus chapter 2, verses 14 and 15.
Your turn.
Exodus what? 3?
Chapter 2, verses 14 and 15.
I can see that.
And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard of the thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
So Moses, he killed an Egyptian, and then he flees the country, and he starts living as a shepherd. So kind of a low point, kind of a, this is not the Moses we think of. The after comes on Exodus chapter 14.
Also, he was in a king's palace.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
He could have been a prince.
exactly, yeah. Chapter 14, verses 21 and 22.
And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left.
So literally one of the most epic, miraculous things you can visualize from the Bible, the parting of the Red Sea. You know, this is, I would say, a really high point. This is a big turnaround for Moses. He was a murderer, and he was in exile, and now he's leading Israel, taking on the Pharaoh and leading the Exodus. Number 4 is also from the Old Testament. It's in Genesis 37, verse 28. Joseph, yes.
When the Midianite trader came near, Joseph's brothers pulled Joseph out of the dry well. They sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 silver coins. The Ishmaelites took Joseph with them to Egypt.
So that's probably the lowest he ever felt. Literally sold by his brothers, doesn't know where he's going to go, and his life is out of control. It's out of his hands. He's been sold into slavery. The after is Genesis chapter 41, verses 41 through 43.
Pharaoh also said to Joseph, I give you the authority in the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took the royal ring from his finger, and he put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed Joseph in beautiful clothes made of linen. He put gold chain around Joseph's neck. Pharaoh gave Joseph a chariot to ride in. It showed that Joseph was Pharaoh's most important officer. Only Pharaoh had more authority. As Joseph traveled, his servants shouted to the people, Bend your knees to respect Joseph. In this way, Pharaoh gave Joseph authority over everything in the land of Egypt.
So you don't get much higher than that. Not that we want worldly power, but he had it. I mean, second in command. And there's each one of these stories, there's like so much that happens, and this is just the low to the high, you know, but
Best part about that is when Joseph's brothers come back and he said, you meant it for evil.
right.
God meant it for good. And I've used that multiple times
Mhm.
in my life, that quoting that scripture.
Right, and
They
that's
never know what God's plan is.
right,
The intention might be to look on the outside, it's horrible.
because God
Uses it.
God will turn anything around. Number 3, we're in the top 3 now, and this is not an exhaustive. You guys can have your own. I'm probably going to miss some, but number 3 is Rahab.
Oh, I was right against her earlier.
You did, yep. She was just higher on the list than you. So this is the book of Joshua, chapter 2, in verse 1.
And Miles wants to read this one.
Okay, go.
Highlighted one, Miles. Here it is. It's on the wall. Or you can read it up there, too.
And Joseph the son of Nun set out of the Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, God view the land of Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there.
So this is how we're introduced to Rahab. She is what they said she was, and living in the pagan city of Jericho.
Hiding spies.
Yes. So in Matthew chapter 1, verses 5 and 6, they include her in the genealogy of Jesus. So let's read Matthew chapter 1, verses 5 and 6.
And Solomon begat Booz of Rachel, and Booz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse. And Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her that been on the wife of Uriah.
Good job. So, yeah, that it's just amazing that her name is in the lineage of Jesus. Okay, top 2. Number 2 is in Acts chapter 8, verse 3. That's right, Paul.
Jesus is the number one. Saul. Oh, Saul. Paul was better, but it's 2. So much for your Sunday school teacher.
As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house and hailing men and women, committed them.
So this is what he was up to. He was persecuting Christians. It was his business. He made it his business to drag him off to prison. Literally, an enemy of what God was doing. The after is in Acts chapter 9, verses 20 through 22.
And straightway he preached Christ in synagogues, that he is the Son of God. But all heard him were amazed and said, Is not this he that destroyed them, which called on his name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent that he might bring them bound into chief priests. But Saul increased more strength and confounded in the Jews which dealt at Damascus, in proving that this is very Christ.
So he was on the wrong side. He was going after Christians. He was putting them in prison. And by the end of it, he was the greatest missionary for. So I hear some guesses. Let's get into Matthew chapter 27. This is a longer passage, but it's verses 50 through 60. Matthew 27. Matthew 27, verses 50 through 60, if I wrote that down right.
Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many.
Yeah, I keep going through. Yep.
Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly this was the Son of God. And many women were there, beholding afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering unto him. Among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's children. When the eve was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea, named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn